then there's no problem. Looking at you,
I'm going to hear the name and I'm going to get PTSD.
But the cream will rise to the top,
Oh, the cream has risen to the top because we got Gerard Gallant as a head coach. Ooh, yeah! I want to snap into a Slim Jim right now, brother. Yeah, the era has come. Like I said with the Johnny Nash song, I need that Johnny Nash song. Because I'm going to go get lunch after this. I'm going to blast that shit, windows open. We're all down. I'm going all over. I could go do cartwheels in the damn street. How happy I am about this. So the Gerard Gallant era has begun. It's a start. It's a start. I think people need to temper their expectations. I think the team can make the playoffs. They're automatically better in their own end because David Quinn didn't seem to know how to teach defense. I mean, I know really it's the defensive coach's job to really work with the defenseman one-on-one and everything and as a unit, but Quinn's system just didn't call for any type of defense, and he couldn't make adjustments. Couldn't make those in-game adjustments. Gerard Gallant is an X's and O's guy. He's very good at it. He's also a leader of men. He gets the most out of his players. He's not one of those guys who just yells at everybody like a John Tortorella or a Mike Keenan who wears out their welcome after a certain amount of time. I guess the one thing I would worry about would be possible run-ins with ownership. I know that he had them in his two previous stops. But, again, in Florida, they were in shambles. Their front office was a joke back then. So that's why there's a completely new group there, new coach, everything. But, I love this signing. I really do. It's a 4-year deal. I believe it's around $3.5 million a year. But this is great. It really is. It's the start of a new era here. It's the start of things going in the right direction. It signifies that they're looking to win sooner than later. There's a lot to look forward to, Ranger fans. I know that there are some that are saying things like, he was just the best available, or, it's not that great of a hire. Let me ask you this. Who the hell did you think was going to be available that was going to come along and was going to make you, it was going to drive the needle from like a 2 to a 10 or a 12? Who was going to do that? There was no Peter Laviolette available. I mean, they missed the boat on him for a second time. There was no Joel Quenneville available, and if Joel Quenneville was available, I don't think he would have came to a rebuilding team. He wouldn't have been the guy. I mean, Florida had pieces in place. At least they had a direction that they were going in, and they were closer to being a winning team than the Rangers were. And who else? Barry Trotz, they missed the boat on that. I don't know if Barry Trotz would have even came to a rebuilding team like the Rangers that had just freshly released a letter stating that they were rebuilding. Would Trotz wanted to go through that? I personally don't think so. Could I be wrong? Sure, but I don't think so. So, Ranger fans that are not excited about this, and I get it, sort of doing away, but who was your answer? Who was your guy? I want to know, because I don't see anybody that was out there that really would have been somebody that would have moved the needle. Would you have rather had Rick Tocchet? No offense, Rick. I've actually came across him at the draft when Anthony and I were there, but he just wasn't the guy. Gerard Gallant's the guy. The team's going in the right direction. They've got a good coach. Jaromir Jagr came out and gave his word. So, fans, be excited. I think once this team starts winning, you're really going to change your tune about Gerard Gallant sooner than later.
I got to agree with that, because, again, I was a believer in David Quinn. And as this season went on, I lost my faith greatly. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you were trumpeting Gerard Gallant, saying he was out there, and I was right on board with that the entire time. I'm not sure if there's another coach that really I want to even look at.
Who? I just want to know who, because these people that are saying that they're not excited are just talking about other guys. Whoa.
Babcock, maybe. But, I mean, again, that's another one. I mean, you talk about, now, again, I think Babcock, using him as an example, Babcock went to the Stanley Cup Finals with the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, not the Anaheim Ducks. That was when they were still the Disney Ducks. Then he goes to Detroit, gets 2 Stanley Cup Finals appearances, and wins one. And they lost to the up-and-coming Penguins. And, I mean, he didn't do well in Toronto, and he's got some baggage right now because, oh no, he said, what's the problem with Babcock again? It was the way he treated his players or something?
Yeah, there's some talk about that. I think it was Holmstrom or Franzen came out after he got fired from Toronto and said some of the stuff he treated them, and then there were some things in Toronto how he made Mitch Marner publicly make a list of I forget exactly what it was, publicly make a list of players who he thought weren't performing well or giving an effort in front of other players, stuff like that came up since he got fired. But
I don't know what the exercise in that is supposed to be, but again, people think coaches are supposed to just give them cookies and orange slices and just say, "Oh, everything's going to be great." No, coaches are going to coach. You're sometimes you have to do it by yelling at somebody. Sometimes you do it with a tender hand. So again,
Eden today.
No. He'd be great for every single talk show, because one of my favorite exchanges from Mike Keenan is Glenn Healy walked in and he looks at Glenn Healy and goes, "What's the difference between me and Al Arbor?" And Glenn Healy says, 4 Stanley Cups. And he says, "Get out." That was it.
Or the infamous Alexander McGillney one where Keenan's yelling at him and Alexander McGillney goes, "Do you see what it took for me to defect over from Russia? You think I'm scared of you?" Oh, man.
I mean, the other one is, but then again, you're not going to have moments like, you are going to have moments like, sometimes you have to teach them in other ways. Like Alexei Kovalev stayed out for too long, and Keenan just kept waving him back on the ice to go, "You want more ice time? You're on." And he left him on the ice for minutes. I think he left him on for 7 minutes. I think that's what the story was, if I remember that one correctly. Anthony, your thought on the Gerard Gallant era starting?
So, I mean, I kind of touched on it when we talked about, when we had the segment on him earlier. I think it's a great hire for the Rangers. He was the right hire. They didn't get too cute and try to, go outside the box. They brought in a guy that's a proven winner. He brought the Knights to the finals. He had some success in Florida. He's a no-nonsense guy, but he's also fair. And he gets the most out of his players. So, the only way I would have said go with someone else was if Brindamore became available. And the Rangers couldn't take that risk because he still hasn't re-signed with Carolina, but it looks like he's going to be there still. And if they gambled and waited, let's say they did that, and then, Seattle or Columbus made Gallant an offer that was really good, and Gallant didn't want to wait around anymore, then who are you going to go with at that point? Were you just going to scramble and hire Rick Tocchet, or, were you going to have to, go someone else aside from that? So, they made the right decision. He's the right man for the job. I think he's going to, like I said, he's going to make the Rangers a better team right off the bat. And the Rangers should, like I said, they should contend for a playoff spot next year, just because of his additional loan. So, we'll see what happens.
And then I got one.
One little quick tidbit on Brindamore. The word is that if Brindamore leaves Carolina, is that he's going to reunite with Francis in Seattle. So, make of it what you will.
Yeah. That would be interesting. My question was going to be, with the coaching jobs that are out there right now, would there be coaches that put the Rangers at number 1, and would they have held out until that job was filled? I actually think. I mean, I was going to say, I actually think that if the Rangers held on to Quinn, there would be some coaches that would play the waiting game a little bit, and wait for him to be fired mid-season, which he ended up being fired in the offseason, because the Rangers' job is setting up to be one of the best jobs in the league. If Jim Dolan goes back to focusing on basketball, this is a premier job. You want this job, and with everything that's going on with them right now, they could be something special. But they need that coach that's going to make them special. Anthony, what were you going to say real quick?
You said like big coaches waiting and thinking of the Rangers a premier job, and I think obviously it's New York, big market, so absolutely. But then again, everyone's different. There are people that have different preferences. Maybe some coaches don't like a big city, like Daryl Sutter in Calgary. Like that guy's a farm boy. The only reason why he came back was because it was Calgary, and that's the only place he was going to coach. So certain people have different preferences. So I mean, yeah, you could have the Rangers a good young core, and it's New York, but some people just prefer other places. There's nothing wrong with it. Like what's that? Zach Greinke. One of the reasons he never came to New York was because he said had like anxiety, and he was like a small city guy. So like individuals have different preferences on where they want to live and play, etc. So yeah, there could be coaches like Gallant that obviously put the Rangers at top, and there could be coaches for other reasons that maybe for other places. So it's really all preference.
One small thing, it's funny you mentioned Greinke, who ended up going and pitching in Los Angeles, which is like the second.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, twice. He did it with the Angels and with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I was going to save this question that's in the comments from Sean for before we sign off. But what guys do you think the Rangers should charge? What guys do you think the Rangers should target in free agency to toughen up the lineup?
Yeah, I've definitely addressed this in the previous episode. And I'll say 4 names again right off the top of my head: Casey Cizikas, Sean Crowley, Matt Nieto, and Matt Calvert. And
Leave my Zeker alone. Leave my Zeker alone.
You might not have a choice, buddy. You might not have a damn choice.
And technically the Angels are in Anaheim, but they're also the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or whatever the hell they call them now.
I don't understand that one still at all. But yeah, like I said, those 4 names are 4 guys that I would think of off the top of my head. You want to add another one, and I don't know if they'll be able to, because they're going to have a bit of a cap crunch too. Tampa Bay, with either Blake Coleman or Barclay Goodrow. I think both of those guys would look real good in the Ranger lineup.
I think Blake Coleman's going to ask for a lot more money than what we think that he's going to be asking for. Barclay Goodrow, on the other hand, might not. So
I think Philip Deneau would be a good third-line center for the Rangers.
And I think that's it.
He turned down, I think, a 6-year, $30 million deal from Montreal. So he's gonna ask too much money. I don't think he's gonna get that or more. I think that he might not get what he's looking for because of the flat cap. But Coleman, I think, could get $3+ million. I don't know if the Rangers want to go all that high for a guy like that. So it might be tough.
All right. So yeah, and I gotta see more guys in the lineup. And again, I would love to know, but again, if you're asking for that much money, no. Jordan Martin game is a good one too. Real
quick there, before you close out that. I mean, he turned that money down, but he could either be an idiot, he wants unrealistic, or sometimes players turn down good deals because that's their way of saying that they want to move on. Maybe he's turning it down because he just would prefer to leave Montreal and wants to play somewhere else. So that's another viable.
French Canadian guy doesn't want to play for the Montreal Canadiens.
Listen, you never know. I'm just saying. It's a fair deal. So when you think about why in the world would you turn that down, your mind goes to, okay, well, why is he turning that down? So just saying.
Philip, finish your thought.
For how many years was Vinny Lecavalier rumored to Montreal, and that never happened? He was rumored for there for, I would say, at least half a decade, and that never happened. But Anthony does have a point. He might not want to play there, but I don't know. I just think he might also be asking for money because he's gotten some legitimate Selke recognition. He is one of the better, defensive centers in the league. He had that 50-point season a couple of years back, but I mean, the offense has kind of gone downhill for him since. So I don't know. I mean, if they don't get Jack Eichel, I would say maybe that's a fit, but I don't know if they want to spend that much money for a bottom six player. I wouldn't personally.
And again, yeah, I wouldn't. $5 million, I'd hesitate before doing that.
Yeah.
You know that there's one making 6 across the river and doing pretty well.
Oh, he's making 5.
Oh, Pajot?
Yeah.
He's making 6.
6-year dollar deal.
All right. So it was a 6-year deal he signed?
Yeah, 6
I
years.
picked up the numbers in my head?
Yep.
Anyway, by the way, thanks for the question. So the Gerard Gallant era begins once again. So this is different from our conversation in our previous video about this. But what do you think? How the Rangers going to change? Who should they target in free agency? Put all your comments down below. Leave us a like, share, and subscribe. If you like that video, we got a lot more. So check out any of these that are right over here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.